I come acknowledging that we have sinned against the people of Jamaica.
Loyal viewers and subscribers, give thanks for life. Give thanks for your continued support. New viewers, welcome to the AVI-NUE. Don't forget to watch the videos, like and share, comment, subscribe to the channel. So today on the AVI-NUE, my people, will be looking at Prime Minister Andrew Holness' speech that he delivered at the handing over ceremony of the 93 JUTC new buses. So in this one, my people, you will hear him speak some half-truth, some gimmicks and some lies, which that is my opinion. So what is your thoughts and views on all of this? Leave them in the comment section and let us have that discussion. So let us get into it and hear what the Prime Minister got to say.
Thank you, Madam Master of Ceremonies, for your masterful conduct of this event so far. I simply say, good morning, nice and decent people. Oh, that's another way of saying all protocols observed. Many years ago, I used to take the bus from Spanish Town to the University of the West Indies. And I would take it with my wife, Juliet. And I do recall many mornings waiting on the 250,000 bus. It was not always a pleasant experience, but these are the experiences that made me who I am today, and has given me a deep insight and appreciation of the struggles of the Jamaican people and what their dreams and aspirations and ambitions are. It is what has made me into a leader. It is what has given me an appreciation, but it has also given me the conviction to make good policies to improve the life of our people. So, in essence, therefore, I identify with the struggles of the people very easily. So, when I sit in cabinet with the ministers, the policies that we make are not theoretical. They are not from textbooks, though the textbook and academic perspective is very important to ensure the technical correctness of what we do. But every Jamaican can be assured that the decisions we make on their behalf is rooted in the Jamaican experience and in understanding what every Jamaican would want to see for themselves and their children. While I will not comment on the puzzling position of those who oppose the school bus system, I will say that the investments that we are making in public transportation are designed, yes, to improve the comfort and convenience of the traveling public. They are designed to improve the affordability for the general public. But I invite every Jamaican listening to my voice today to consider that there are higher level objectives that we intend to achieve by the investments we are making in public transportation. Firstly, our economy could be characterized as a stable economy over the last 10 years. We have achieved economic stability through good fiscal management and through institutional strengthening and development. Just with that alone, we will get a certain level of growth. But that level of growth, it is not going to be sufficient to deliver the improvements that you would like to see in, for example, wages, improvement in the road infrastructure and health and all of those things. So if we don't improve growth, then what will happen is that the demands that you have based upon your own aspirations and ambitions will create a political pressure on governments, whether it is this one or another government, to break fiscal discipline in order to try to provide the things that you want. But we have been that road for the last 50 years, and all it has gotten us into is economic problem. Because in order to provide the things that you would want, with the political pressure brought on by elections and other considerations, governments then tend to want to borrow. They will tend to run deficits. They will tend to want to spend what they have not earned. And that puts us into economic problems, which then prevents us from getting the things that you want in the first place. So the only way to prevent that from happening is what I call a vicious cycle of government saying they're trying to provide for the people, making all kinds of promises, not raising the money through growth, going on borrowing it to finance development, and then have to pay it back. And in order to pay it back, they have to spend less on the dreams and aspirations and visions of the people, and you end up in a vicious cycle till you become bankrupt. Notice how I've put it. You, the people of the country, also have a responsibility in how the country is run. So leaders have to be very careful and strategic not to fall in the populism trap. And I'm saying this because we are in an election mode and we are seeing where the populism trap is emerging. Now, to get growth, you have to focus on productivity. When we talk about growth, the individual doesn't see themselves in growth. Growth is something that the economy does, but that's not the case. Growth is the sum of your increased productivity. If everyone is growing, everyone is doing well, everyone is producing more, our economy grows. So then the challenge for the government is, how do we get every single Jamaican to produce more? There are many ways to do this. There are many factors you have to consider. Give them more training and skills. Get your people trained. Get them skilled. Security. If people don't have to worry about locking down their communities at night and have to hide under their beds, and businesses have to shut because of crime and violence, the economy will grow. But here's another factor. What if you got to work 30 minutes earlier each day? And what if you got to work 30 minutes earlier each day in a better frame of mind? Not tired, not harassed. How much more productive could you be? So the investment in new buses and in trying to create a world-class transportation system, it's not about the politics, which people have tried to drag it into a political thing. No, it's about setting the framework for growth for everyone. That's what it is about, and we tend to lose sight of that. That the investment in public transportation is about making our economy more efficient so that everyone who has to use public transportation can be more productive in their personal or work endeavors. That's what it is about. But the nature of our politics and our democracy is that if you don't support the political party that is doing it, the idea can never make sense. And Jamaica needs to move past this and look at the ideas, look at the implementation, look at the execution, but more importantly, Jamaica needs to become a results-oriented society that rewards the people who produce and deliver the results. It's the reality. Now, we have been involved in, doing our market research and surveys. We don't make our decisions, as I said, purely by anecdotes. We are actually in the process of doing our own polls and our research and surveys. And we have picked up that there is general support right across the board for the investment in buses, and in particular for the investment in the school bus system that we are developing. But those who are trying to find something to take away from the achievement, we picked up a certain segment of responses that says, yes, I agree with the school bus system, but why would not do it now? Because of election. In other words, trying to find a reason to take away from the value of the achievement. And therefore, I'll use this opportunity to explain that in a democracy, governments must work towards elections. And one would think that if governments do the correct things, make the right decisions, and deliver, then they should be rewarded in elections. I mean, isn't that the logic? So this notion of because you're doing it for election, you shouldn't be rewarded, don't make sense, right? You want your governments to perform so that you can judge them on their performance in an election. But the idea is a little bit more refined than that. The idea is, why are you doing it just now? Why you didn't do it before? That's the real rub of the question. Why no? Why not before? And there needs to be a period of time in which we explain to the Jamaican people, because as politicians sometimes we take it for granted that everyone who is going to vote understands. These buses that you're seeing here today, these 100 buses, were not ordered yesterday. We didn't go to a shop and say, 100 bus. These buses took 4 years of planning. 4 years. Not just yesterday. And this 4 years of planning started with an assessment of the problem, the situation with the JUTC, the theft of fuel, the breakdown of buses, the unreliability of service, the long waits, all the complaints that we were getting, which we then described as pain points for commuters. We sat down and we said, how are we going to treat with this? We worked out a system that we would transition from heavy fuel oil buses, diesel buses, into LNG, and we even tested some electric buses. Same was done for the school bus system. We recognize that some schools, through financing from the government, through the Ministry of Education, actually had a school bus system with dedicated buses. And we looked at how we could replicate that. We did various analyses and studies on it. And then came the important thing. How can we fund it? None of these buses that you're seeing here are being funded by borrowing. None. Then, once we allocated the fiscal space, it went through a process of investment appraisal. Is this the right thing to spend the public resources on? Is there another competing need on which we should spend the money rather than on these buses? So we look at the opportunity cost. Is it viable? What's the economic case for it? Will it save the government money? Once we answered all those questions, and that process can take anywhere from 3 months to a year. Once we answer those questions, my friends, then we go into procurement. We have to put out a tender to the world, to the public, and those who feel that they have the capability to deliver, then they come, they make their bid. Then that process of tendering can take anywhere from 6 months to 18 months. Then, after that is done, you go into the contracting phase. You have to sign a contract that, yes, you're going to deliver the buses on X date based upon X payment schedule. And then the buses have to be manufactured. They are not on shelves somewhere. They are manufactured because in the contracts there are certain specifications for these buses to operate in Jamaica. That can be anywhere from a year to 18 months. I don't recall what the manufacturing time on these buses were. So you see, it is coming to fruition in elections. That's just coincidental. This is your government working day and night for years to put these things in place, and they are just materializing in front of you now. Which is a challenge we face with our electorate, not having a full understanding of how governments work. Since we have become the government, the process of delivering the things you want, whether it is the water, the road, the garbage truck, the buses, whatever it is, the police, security vehicles, we have put in place more processes than existed before. So you are seeing a government that is thinking way ahead because we have to fulfill every process. Because if we don't fulfill it, somebody is going to write you a question under what is the law and what is important. And that is why we have insisted that we follow the law as it is required. So that when we deliver a product, it is here without question. And the product is enduring, meaning that it will last the time that it is scheduled to, because everything has a useful period of life. These buses are not going to last forever. However, the other important thing that the public should consider with this is that these buses are now on a maintenance schedule. So we don't just buy the bus and say, that's the bus, go drive when it broke down, it broke down. No. Our financing arrangement from our budget is to prepare for the day when the bus breaks down, so that we can keep it running and extend its useful life. So this is not just the bus. You are seeing the bus, but behind the bus is a whole system that will keep those buses running for your convenience your comfort, and your affordability. It's an entirely new bus system that we have created. And I just wanted the Jamaican people to have an appreciation on that and not be drawn into the politics of the buses. The bus is coming now, it's pure coincidence. I was standing here last year around this time handing over the first 100 buses. And before that, we received about 25 and 30 and some other test buses because of the process, right? So that it comes for election, neither here nor there. What you should be looking at is that the government was working all this time and these things are now being delivered. That's what you should consider. There's another thing that I invite you to consider. We saw that there was inequity in the society. Inequity meaning that a certain section of the society got a benefit and another section of the society didn't get the benefit, even though they may be more deserving or in a situation that would require the benefit. And as government, you have to be careful when you make policy that your policy does not distort equity. So there are many policies that are going to be proposed in an election. Oh, we're going to give 500,000 to pay down on house. We're going to give land title free. We're going to do this, all kinds of things. But there is no assessment on how that will redistribute equity in the society. Meaning, how will it make one group of people better off whilst making another group worse off? When you're making policy, you want to make everybody better off. That's what you want to do, number one. Or if you can't do that, you have to make at least one person better off and nobody else worse off. That is the minimum definition of progress and fairness in welfare distribution. So when we are thinking about the urban bus system, we recognize that we would be making people who live in urban areas better off because they are going to get access to better buses, they have access to better fares through subsidy, more reliability and more comfort. While persons who live in rural areas, especially kids, would not get the same access, and indeed they have to pay more. And so developing the rural school bus system will rebalance the equity in the society by ensuring that urban commuters, particularly our children, will get the same equitable access, comfort, convenience, and affordability as everyone else in the society. And that's why this is so important. There are other modalities to do it. You could easily, which we do, give a grant or we could subsidize, but those require a certain level of management and control to ensure that the intended target actually gets the benefit. Now, the other element is that the JUTC has been strategically and steadily extending its reach into the urban centers of rural areas. So last year or early this year, you would have seen the JUTC extending its service into Morant Bay. They extended service, help me Darrell, where else did we go? I think you're in Clarendon, I think you should be in Ocho Rios, you're in St. Mary. So we are slowly extending, and by my notes, I believe you had said it, that you are going to go into 15 that you're going to be doing services into a targeted area. I think it's 15 new areas, which are urban areas in rural Jamaica. So in effect, we are bringing in all our population into public transportation, which is in some ways subsidized by the government, which will ensure that all of Jamaica gets this benefit of reliable, convenient, comfortable, and affordable public transportation. But outside of that, I take great note of what was said on this platform. Go JUTC, go China, go Jamaica. And I must commend the manufacturers and suppliers of the buses that are going to be expanding the JUTC fleet. But I would also add, and I'm sure all who are here would accept it, go United States of America, because the buses that are here for the school bus program are from the United States of America, which shows what Jamaica is. Jamaica is a crossroad to the world for all to come and invest and have their products available once they pass the standards that we have set for our safety and articulation here in Jamaica. So I think it's quite useful to have these buses from the United States. The United States has a long history of operating a school bus service in rural areas. And so we are effectively benefiting from the history, not just in operations, but in the technologies that are applied and the design and the construction. And yes, there are areas in the United States where the terrain and the temperature is similar to that of Jamaica. And these buses are built to last. We know they are very strong. The engines in them are tried, tested, and proven. And I would not be surprised if the United States, either through the suppliers or through their government, would be willing to partner with the government of Jamaica to ensure that these buses fit and are retrofitted to the specifics of the Jamaican considerations. And who knows, once this takes off and becomes institutionalized, you might very well find that buses are manufactured for Jamaica, because this then becomes the entry point of these kinds of buses into other similar markets in the region. So all in all, the strategy that we have applied, the thinking behind it, is only for the benefit of Jamaica. Jamaica is better today for having this. And this is an example of good government, of a thinking government, of a caring government, a government that is working very hard to earn your trust and your vote. God bless you, and thank you for choosing Jamaica.
Honorable people, that's all for now on the Avenue. New viewers, welcome forward to the Avenue. Don't forget to watch the videos, like and share, comment and subscribe. That's all for now, my people. Catch you in the next one. Thank you very much.